All right, art students, welcome back to another class. And as you saw in the title of drawing vehicles or drawing and creating your own vehicles or just drawing vehicles, whatever the title may be. But this is going to be probably the most important lesson that you will ever have when it comes to drawing. Because when I started, now some of you people might know the story, some of you students might know the story, you people. I'm self-taught. I was a self-taught artist. When I was young, there was nobody around to teach me how to draw, but I practiced and practiced, and I looked at stuff, and I tried to figure out just what something was or how to draw it. Now, as I got older in high school, I took art class because, I love drawing. And as I went through high school, I found out I had enough math credits to graduate, so I dropped math and I took another art course. PE, I didn't need any more credits to graduate from PE, so I had 3 art classes out of those 7 classes in high school because I loved art so much. And then even college, I took a class in college, a few classes in college. And in college, this is what they teach you. What they do is they'll take some chairs and some flower pots or some vases or whatever, and they'll set it all up and they'll say, okay, draw that. And that's how art was all through school. Here, draw this, draw that. And then when you draw it, you give it to them, and they're like, oh, well, okay, you need to work on this, you need to work on that. Nowhere, anywhere through all the years did anybody say, hey, shapes, look at the shapes of these things. Everything is a shape. And this is something that I taught from the very first video, is shapes. You have to be able to draw those shapes. Everything is one of 3 shapes: circle, square, and a crooked looking triangle. So if you look around, and I say this over and over, and I'll keep saying this until the last day that I make a video, you have to master these 3 shapes. These 3 shapes are as important as the alphabet. When you started to learn how to write and read, they showed you how to do that. And they said, okay, this is the A, which happens to be a triangle. And A was like and B was buh. So it's the same thing for these shapes. Everything is one of these 3 shapes. Now, you might have cousins to these shapes, like this will turn into an oval. You can start chipping away at some of the shapes. So if I chipped away at this, then I would have that, that octagon shape. So if I kept chipping away at it, eventually I would have a circle. By just chipping away at any one of these shapes, you have whatever it is you need to draw. I'll give you an example real quick. This is a mouse. If my camera wants to do that, but I think once it warms up, it becomes better. This is a mouse. What shape is that? That's just basically an oval, cousin of the circle. Just stretch it out a little bit more. If I had like that little silly putty and stretch it out, it would be like that. This thing right here. There's a little weight. I know, camera. I know you hate that when I leave, you come and go. So what is the top of this? Octagon. The size of it, cylinders. You can make this a circle. And people, they don't look at stuff when they draw it like this right here. This is a face scrubber. This is a face scrubber. If I say, okay, draw this, the first thing they'll see is all these little brushes and stripes, and they're like, oh my God, that's hard to draw, but it's basically just an oval with a circle, with another circle. Turn it on the side. This could be a circle that you cut off. Let me just do this real quick. Let's just say here's a circle. Okay, now I cut that circle off here, straighten it out here, and this could be an oval down here. So if I just take this and round this off, make this a little thinner, and come back up, then I will initially have that face scrubber from just drawing what shapes this is. Everything might not be a perfect square, circle, and a triangle, but they are those shapes chopped off a little bit with something chopped off. Take this last thing, for instance. This is one of those back, to get the lint off your clothes. It's just like a roller. But when you look at it, it's a cylinder. It's just a cylinder. Turn it from the side. It's a circle. It's a circle with another circle. This is a rectangle right here. This is a rectangle. And this could be another rectangle. So with those 3, 4 shapes, you just drew something. If you know how to draw a cylinder from the side, how simple is that? That's a cylinder. This is another oval, straight down. That's what do you call that thing? See, when I start talking too fast, rectangle. Rectangle under here. Rectangle that goes to the side. And here is your, this could be a rectangle too. Round it off at the bottom. Throw a circle in there. You have this. It is so simple to draw when people tell you the first steps. But no one has ever told me the first step. That's why I said I taught myself. Because it was hard for me to just pick something up and draw. I mean, you try to draw. You're like, okay, so this is like this. And this comes down here because you have people who have like that natural talent that can just do stuff with one line and go all the way around, and it, you know, it halfway looks right. But when you break it down and say, okay, so his head is more of like an oval, his body is more like another oval, a little bigger. Let me get a pen just because make it a little darker. That way when I mess up, I can't erase. You know, the ears are kind of like two triangles that are like close together. The eyes are like big circles. The nose is a little circle. This thing is a little smiley face. We all know how to do smiley faces. His hands are like just two, not ovals, I guess, two ovals. You have a little oval here, a little oval here, a little half circle here, a little half circle here. Line, line, little circle, you know, and then you have your Garfield. I mean, for a rough draft, if this was in pencil, then I could take it and say, oh, okay, now I got it. So let me just, you know, shape this up a little bit more, shape this, add some fingers, do some stripes right here, and then basically you have it. Instead of trying to look at the whole, you look at the shapes. Now, what does this have to do with vehicles? Everything, because every vehicle is a shape. Once you master these three, you will be on your way drawing so quickly, because the body is the same thing. Your head is an oval, your neck is a little square right here, your torso is an oval, your delt, circle, cylinder for one part of the arm, cylinder for another part of the arm, little square for your waist, or rectangle. You can make a triangle for the hips. Cylinder here, half a triangle for the body or for the feet. And it's just so simple. Once you get it in pencil, rough in pencil, then you can come back and say, okay, now let me fix this, or let me do this, or let me do that, and then you'll be on your way, and it'll only take you a few seconds to do. So master these. All right, let's start out with something simple like a car. I just happen to have a little toy car here. Now, most people would look at this and say, oh, I can't draw that. It's too much detail, and you don't look at the detail. Let's just do a side view. What would you say the closest shape that is? What is this the closest shape to? It would be a rectangle with another rectangle on the top. So let's just do basic rectangles like that. This is what you would start out with, your shapes. Then you would say, okay, then this front here is sloped, and this back here is sloped, and this part right here is sloped as well. So basically what you're doing is you're taking the basic shapes and you're chipping away at them to make what it is that you're trying to make. And if you ever notice in a car commercial, they usually never show you too much of the side or the very front. They always throw that little angle, that little best angle on you, so you can see the best, because a lot of cars, you know, they have to be square. Let's do this. This is your front of your car right here. And then you have this on top, right there. That's just a square on top of a square. And then you round the front off a little bit. Like I said, you round the top off a little bit, maybe bring that down at an angle. You know, put your fancy grill in here. How's that grill? Like this. The little piece here, your fancy lights on the side. And basically all they're doing is chipping away at that car or at that shape to make the type of shape car, shape plane, shape whatever that they want. And that's basically all it is. All this little detail, you can do this stuff last. And you have some tires. I'm looking at it to draw it myself. And you have your tires here. So if I ink that to make it a little better, and then just add like the lines in the hood, the you call it, the gaps, so forth, the fender flares and so forth, it would be a car. And that's the same thing that I'm saying. You have to take it from its basic shape, which is going to be either a square, circle, and a triangle. Of course, you know the wheels are circles. These little hubcaps in between would be triangles. So if I did a wheel, and once you start seeing this stuff, then you're good to go. Triangle here, triangle here, triangle here, triangle here, and then you have your wheel, your rim. Like I say, wheel wells, but you have your rims. A little, something in here, a little something here. We'll add it, middle thing here, and then you put your tires on top of that. Goodyear Eagles or something, Goodyear GTs, and then you have your wheels. Shapes, simple shapes. So now, most times if you're going to draw a car or something, you're not going to draw it from the side, and you're not really going to draw it from the front too much. I mean, you may, but then you may not. But most times they show you from angles to make it just look cooler, make it look more dynamic, make it look like it's coming right at you versus like just sitting there, or just, park right there in front of you. So the way that you would do that is in perspective. Perspective, here's your square. And let's just say, we'll see just a little of the top. Now you have that car once again. Square, square, square. And again, same thing. You would just take that shape and you would whittle it down until you have the pieces or the shapes that you want. So let me look at this and just do a quick draft. Let me use a pen. It may not be smooth, but you get the gist of it. Oh, and one thing I meant to say, if you can get reference. Always get reference to whatever you can. Unless you're making something up out of your head, then you might not be able to have a reference for it. Like if I want to draw like a 6-headed unicorn dragon rat, there's not too much reference on that. So let me do this real quick. So out of this two rectangle boxes, I'm going to slope down this windshield. Slope this roof over. Make it come down. There's a second window here. There is the mirror coming out here. And of course, this is a quick drawing, and it goes down here. Like there's a little shape to it. The wheel here. And you probably say, oh yeah, see, because you can draw, and you can draw too once you get this, what I'm saying, down. Goes back and then up, and you start to see the car taking shape. So just continuing on with a really rough. And this is why you do it in pencil. Lights are going around here somewhere like this. This little piece here. Have this little piece over here. We have the lights coming and going around. You have this couple little dents in the hood here, plus that center line. That one's kind of screwed up. And then you have your door coming out and down. You have your little frame thing right there coming up, curving around, and then going up. Your door handle. You have your little shape. You have your shape here, and then of course you have a very crooked car. You have your wheels, which are just what? Ovals. Now they become cylinders. The back wheels are oval, cylinder, and you quickly have your vehicle or your car. Now that could become a truck. It can become anything that is ground-based that we use just by doing perspective. So if I did one, let's just say here's my square. Spitting on your paper. Here's my square. I'm gonna go back here. I can do the same thing. Here's my top here. Lengthen this a little bit or bring this down. Here's my pen again. Let's just say here we have this. Once I get my shape, my square established, let's just say this is the side. I'm going to bring it down into more of a point, like some kind of maybe like a Lamborghini or something. Well, it's not going to be no Lamborghini, but actually the front should have been way out here. Should have been the center coming out here. Then as I go down, there's going to be the wheel here and another wheel here. But hopefully you get the point, because I screwed that one up. You have to stay with that shape. So if I did it again, it would be like this. And this whole thing would be the front. The hood would be here. The windshield top would be here. So this whole thing would be the front here. Being that would be the center, and you carve out what you need. However, then you have this going back. So perspective is one of the main keys to trying to design something. Now you can design whatever you want. Like if you say, oh, I had this little kind of spaceship idea in mind, what shape do you see when you're going to do your little spaceship? And what do I say little? Why do I keep saying that? Women say that when they're mad. You go out with your little friends, you go to your little party, oh, go watch your little football game, and they do that. Y'all do that. Y'all know y'all do that. Whenever you get mad about something, oh, I can't go to dinner with you. I have to go see my friend. You go see your little friend. All right, so you get the gist on this. You have to practice your squares, and you have to know your perspective for whatever shape you're using. And remember, you have your eye line and your point, your vanishing point. So whatever is above this line and this point, are you focused? You will be in a second. Maybe I need my yellow paper back again. You're seeing the bottom. Whatever's below this line, you're seeing the top. So whether that's a car, a truck, a motorcycle, or whatever, you're going to have that thing. So if this was a car, this was like Dukes of Hazzard. If you're from the South, you've seen Dukes of Hazzard. Dukes of Hazzard. Jump in the car. What is that? The wheel would go like this, and you have that, whatever that is, the little drivetrain and the other part of the wheel. Drivetrain. Jump in the car. You'd see the bottom of the car, and that's why, what is it, the Charger or the Challenger, whichever one they say, when they made that TV series, they went and they got as many of those cars, the Charger or the Challenger, whichever one the car was, as they could find. And that's why they're hard to find nowadays, because these guys went through so many cars. They said they didn't have to run, but they needed the body, and they'll just launch the car every time they make a jump. And they said the thing would just fall apart. They had one or two actual working General Lees, and the rest were just junk, because they just didn't have to run. Just a couple of them had to run to look good. I think they had a running one and a show one that was like always clean. So they said after that you couldn't find those cars anymore, because they just used them all up. So that's why that car today is very hard to find. And then when they came out with Fast and Furious, that car came back out again. So of course everybody wanted them. So that's why they're hard to find. So let's say like you want to do like some kind of airplane or some jet fighter. Same thing. I don't have a jet fighter toy, do I? If I do, it's locked up somewhere. But anyway, what you're going to do is every plane, the fuselage or the center of it is just a circle. It's a circle. You know, if I'm looking at the front, then you have the canopy there, and you have the wings here. which are what? That's just a little triangle, circle, half an oval, and maybe the tail. This is one of them old World War fighter planes here. And then, yeah, since I got that shape, the propellers. I mean, they had 2 propellers or 3 propellers? I don't know. So anyway, it's those basic shapes you use for a plane. And I was always into the Black Sheep Squadron. I think it was the Corsairs, the Corsair planes. Because of the wings, I think the wings went down and then like that side. And I thought that was just so cool, the way the wings were shaped. I think it probably had 3 blades. I don't think it had like 2 blades. And the canopy. So yeah, and then they had the guns like on the side. But that's from the front. So now if you drew that plane from the side, it's just a cylinder. That's all it is. Anything you draw is going to be one of those 3 shapes, as I'll say again and again and again and again. It's going to be one of those 3 shapes and manipulated somehow. Either something's going to be added or something's going to be chipped away. Most times it's chipped away to make it look like what you want it to look like. I'm not going to do that. Let's just say like a 747. Okay, you take this and you put a point on the front of it. It's been a long time since I've been on a commercial airline. So forgive me if right now it's looking like a nuclear submarine. And that's what I say reference. I don't know what a nuclear submarine looks like, so you're going to have to, find you a nuclear submarine picture if you're going to do that. So I'm going to continue with my wannabe airliner, my 747 or whatever this thing is. Of course, you have your engines, which are just cylinders again on top of that. How does the front of that plane look? I don't know. But by using these basic, simple shapes, then later on you can come back and add your detail. I don't know. Yeah, anyway. And then with perspective, I show you perspective, try to show you perspective in every video, that doing a cylinder, if you can't see the side of this cylinder, you can't see any, it's coming right at you. So if this is that little 747 plane here, it's going to look like that. Here's your thing. Here's your engine. Here's your engine. Here's this thing. And that's just the same thing as this, except this is going to be a little bigger. But if you can see the side, then it is kind of tilting away. I took this thing and I taped it up to kind of show you what I'm saying. So if you can't see any of the sides, it's coming right at you. But when you start to see some of the side of it, it's going in the direction of the side that you can see. So if I did this plane, I already did that. So if I did that plane again, and I didn't want so much to be seen, I wouldn't put so much of a thing behind it, like probably like about that much. You still have the plane like this. You have your windows down. So if I did a center here of this would be the nose right about here. And as I said, the wings would be out here. Maybe way back there. The other wing would be here, depending on the level. If you see side of the wing or the bottom of the wing, the tail right here. And then your motors, because this is going back, you see a little bit of that, you'll see a little bit of that motor as well. Motor, that's not a motor, that's an engine. You'll see a little bit of that engine. And then because you see this side of the engine, you will see that side of the engine. Now, of course, this is coming right at me because I don't see the top of the wing and I don't see the bottom of the wing. Same thing with the plane. I don't see the top and I don't see the bottom. So it's coming right at me. Now, if it was above me, going above me, then I would see the bottom of it. meaning you would just have to draw that. I think they have some kind of shape to them. The 747s have some kind of different type of shapes to them anyway, but yeah. I don't know why I'm stuck on drawing this thing. It's the artist in me. So again, if this thing was coming right at me, or if it was coming over me, I'll still see the front, but I will see the bottom of that plane. Then find that center. So this would be my center right here, my nose. And then I would do like this if I needed to curve it out. Round that off here. This would be the window of the plane. The tail, however, I think the back goes and the tail goes, and then you'll see the wing. Well, depending on the angle, like this, you will see some of the bottom of the wing with that motor underneath of it. There you go with that motor, with that engine underneath of it. As I said, because it's going up at that angle. And whatever else it's got. I know it's got it's riveted together and so forth. But as long as you have these shapes and you can know the perspective, start out by doing just a circle. If you're having a hard time doing cylinders, start out with a circle. Pull your paper down, and then let's do this. Do 1, 2, let's say 3 or 4, like that. So you have your front circle and you have your back circle. So let's put this one straight down. Put that back circle. Put this one over to the side. Let's put this one up. Let's put this one down to this side. That's a good practice for you to do. Just do circles. Do your front circle and then do your back circle. Say if I want this to be above me, then I'm going to do my back circle down below, and I'm going to connect the two, and then just erase. Get a good eraser, have a good eraser, and erase the inside between the lines, and that makes it easy for you to draw something. So remember, front circle, and if it's looking straight at you, you're going to see the circle, a circle. If it's going from the side, you're going to see an oval. So the more of the side you see, or the more the oval is going to be, the more of the side of it you're going to see. Now, I do a lot of videos on foreshortening and so forth, so let that be a lesson. All right, so the airplanes. Let's do. You might say, I don't want to do that. Do a fighter jet. Okay, same thing. Let's just come up with some kind of fighter jet. It's going to be pointed. So let's just a quick one. I'm going to have this triangle right here. Okay, just something like that. A triangle. Plain and simple triangle, and there's a bottom to the triangle. That would be like a pyramid laying down. I have no idea but just I'm going to do it anyway. Just this little wing here, triangle, another wing here, triangle, another wing going back here, just to say triangle, and another wing there. Let's put 2, and this is like a design I came up with a long time ago that I call the arrow. And I said I was going to pull out that book, and I still may, because I can always cut it and do it again. Let's just say cockpit is going to be like this. This is your cockpit right here. And whatever, it could have some guns on top. Multi-directional guns, and the landing gear could be down. So everything that I did here for that is just basically triangle, rectangle, triangle, triangle. Then I can come back and say, okay, let me round this off a little bit. And I can do something like this to make it more rounder. So just by doing a couple lines across it, you'll know that it is round. And I'll keep that to make that side more flatter. Center line, maybe there's like an antenna or something right there. One to the side. Then you can do your detail, whatever your rivets, or just fill in the empty blanks. Like I say, every kind of plane is like welded and riveted together. You can do your things here, or right here, to give it that more. Sorry about the blur. I don't know how long it's been blurred. I'm gonna get a Patreon. Y'all gotta feel sorry for me. Help me out with the Patreon so I can buy a good camera, so this will never happen again. So yes, and you start putting your detail to everything later. And then you come out with your nice little jet design, or whatever kind of design that you want to do. So we did a car, did a plane. Let's try a tank. All right, this is definitely gonna be a long video, but teaching you some good information. All right, so a tank, the same thing with the tank is find your reference. Always find your reference. Now, if you want to change that tank a little bit, then you go ahead and change it. Where's my yellow paper? It seems to like this yellow paper. Seems to like focus like this yellow paper. Is this mom or something? As I said, what was I saying? Side, basic tank is like kind of like this from the side. It's got your oval treads, and it has a little thing on the top, and then you have your gun. Okay, that's your, again, that's your basic tank. Now, a lot of times you won't be drawing, if you're drawing some kind of action book or whatever, you won't be drawing everything from the side. Remember, as I said, all car commercials or pictures of new cars, they always show that stuff from the angle. So let's do this. Let's say we have this. From that angle. And I'm seeing the top, so you understand that your line, the eye line here, somewhere here, and your vanishing point is off there somewhere. So we have this, and let's just put the gun up here. Let's put that gun at an angle. Another square. So let's just say the gun is going to be this way. And let's just put like a rocket launcher up on top of the gun. And it has to be, unless it's rotating, unless it's pivoting, it's got to be the same way, Brian. Just off of the gun a little bit more. Like that. So now you start to kind of carve out what your tank is going to look like. So let's just bring this in. You still with me? And so then you put your treads here underneath this piece. See some of that. However, the treads, I know they're like this, and they work on top of the track. Like that. So I'll make this like a separate piece. This piece comes down. This is my other part of my tread. My tread is here. Going back. Let's just say we have some kind of shape here. This is my gun. And Let's see, this is going to be my rocket launcher here. And maybe a machine gun. Up there. Maybe give this a little bit of shape to it somehow. Curve that around. And when you're doing your own thing, kind of the sky's the limit. So if I just ink this and just kind of add a little bit, make it a little better. My God, I'm so sick of this camera. Patreon. Maybe it needs more yellow. It needs more yellow to see. See that? I don't know what it is about this color. Now I know. Keep more yellow. All right. So this is why this video is going to take forever. And once you get that basic shape, then you can go back and add your details, like the tracks, the treads. What would they look like? How do they actually fit on something? And that's one thing. Another thing that you're going to have to do if you decide to become this serious artist, when you look at stuff, you're going to have to really, look at it now. You can't just see like a wrecked car on the side of the road as you go by. You have to kind of look at it to see, oh, this is how this is made, and this is how it breaks this way, and so forth. So that, and that's the difference between a good artist and a great artist, is the attention to detail and being able to copy something or to recreate that thing better than the next person, to where that other person says, oh, it really looks like a tank, or that really looks like a submarine, or that really looks like a whatever. So that would be something that you have to do, is be able to start looking at stuff. Oh my God, I need a buzzer. I need a buzzer to say, hey, I'm not focused. I'm not focused. So as long as you have that perspective going right, then it's easy to create. And if you're creating something just out of from your memory, then you're going to have to do your own thing, depending on what shape it is. If I'm trying to think of another angle for that tank. If you're doing like an X-wing and you kind of know what you're doing, you kind of know what you want it to look like, and you get your shapes right, then it's simple. I'm trying to draw and talk at the same time. Same thing as the tank from the kind of 3/4 view. So I'm not going to really just ink this whole thing, just so you can kind of see what I did here. And I think the light was here, light was here. And that's something too, if you create this vehicle, you're going to have to be able to draw it from every angle over and over and over again. So you're going to have to know what the thing looks like from every angle. So yeah. All right, so let's take spaceships, because I know a lot of people want to do space stuff. Let's take an iconic ship like the Enterprise. All right, so what is it, like from the side, depending on which one you want to do. Let's just see if I can remember how the side, the old one looks. I know they had this from the side because that's round. I think this was, y'all gonna hate me, your Enterprise people. Was it in the center? And I think they had them down here, this thing here. I don't know how long that came out on the old one. I know that was bullet shape, and then it had the two nacelles, if I'm not mistaken. I'm a Star Trek fan, don't give me that. I know some of the Star Trek stuff. And then the other one would be here. You can line them up, or you can take them lower, or however you want to do. I think it had a belly. And the old one had a little radar dish. And this was cut with the circle for the shuttlecraft. And it had some lines here, because I had the old model. I just remember what this looks like. So yeah, sideways. That's just, there we go. Come on, see your yellow? See your yellow friend? All right, so I cut my light back on, and I cut it all the way up. So maybe it was blurring because it couldn't see because I had the light down. Yeah. So if you're doing like, what am I trying to say? If you're doing like scenes where chase scenes, maybe your ships are flying over you, you have to be able to draw them. Let me do this, and maybe I can understand, can you know, kind of tell you what I'm saying. Let's kind of get the next generation kind of thing going here. The angle makes a lot of, it tells what's going on from the angle. You're not going to see too much of that. Is it going? I think it's over the saucer anyway. So this is the bottom, and so make the saucer a little bigger, a little wider. So center bridge. See some of the side of this. Something like that. As I say, get your reference. Get your reference first. Get all the reference out so that you can be ready to come and go, because that's a hard angle for a circle. Easy for square, hard for a circle. But let's just say you have this ship being chased. This is being chased. So you got that one. So it's coming in this direction. You need to be able to put ships in that same direction. So if I did another one here, everything's going to be going back. I'm just going to do the bottom, put the tops on later. It's got to be lined up with that direction. That way they all look like they're going the same way, coming out at the same angle. Just imagine if these were bullets or torpedoes or something. As long as they're coming from that one spot, now that you can be going up, it could be coming down. The spot could be up here, and everybody could be coming down, and the ship could be right here. The other ship could be right here, but they have to come from this same like explosion line, as I call it. When you have a bomb and it blows up, the lines go out like that. That radiating explosion line. So you have this one here. So this is going to be like this. This one's going to be like this. This one's going to be like this. Actually, that one's going to be at an angle because you're seeing the bottom of it. So and that way you will look like you have that whole fleet going in formation in the same direction. So let me make heads or tails of this thing. Let's just do something different. Could be like a gun here, the little laser phaser things right here. You're going to see the upper part of that. This is down. Another one here. As I say, once you get that shape right and everything is cool, then you can add your other pieces to it. As I say, I apologize, but this the camera, the light. This house. I'm going to get another one. This house or this room is really not conducive to having a studio in it because the lights back here suck. I mean, they suck. So my son bought me a nice little light, above light, but this camera is freaking out because of it. So as I say, you have that, and then you have the other one coming like that. And because the line is, the vanishing point is down below, you're going to see under the bottom of all of these. So you get the gist. It's got to have that coming from the radiating. If you're doing some kind of like ship battle or a bunch of ships or chase scene. And see, as I say before, they don't teach you this stuff in school. They don't start saying, okay, this is a shape, practice a shape, because I guess that's so boring for you to go to art school and then draw squares and rectangles all day. But it's definitely something you're going to have to do if you want to become a great artist. You're going to have to sit down one day and just say, okay, I'm just going to draw squares and circles all day, and then turn around and draw your room, draw everything that's in your room using just the shape. Not like if you're going to draw the dresser, don't worry about the drawers on it and so forth. Just the shape of your dresser and the angle of it in your room, and just take a whole day to continue to do that. So let's see if I can get back on track. You have your cars, your planes, your spaceships, designing your own vehicle. Let's see. Now, I did a vehicle when I was young. I'm going to pull out because I believe it's over here, and I called it the Turtle. I did this little tank, and I'm going to use it in my animal story comic book, and I haven't figured the name. It's going to be either Dog Soldiers or Dog Soldier or Animal something. Let me get the book. All right, for the life of me, I cannot find that book. It's a notebook that's right on my shelf. I don't know why I would have moved it. I would not have put it back in the garage. But anyway, it's got all my old drawings when I was like in junior high. And probably before that. I want to show you guys that, you know, because some of you guys are like, oh, I can't draw. I'll never be able to draw. Well, I'm going to show you what I used to do to what I can do now. And we'll give you guys some encouragement. You'll be like, my God, he couldn't draw when he was young. But, you know, I grew up. So anyway, let me show you this. A lot of people will probably do their own vehicles. Show you what the turtle looks like, if I can remember it detail. I know the front looked like this. For what it was, for what it's worth, it looked like this. And it had the glass here. The body looked like this, if I'm not mistaken. And I'll kind of do this a little better. And it had tracks here. And I want to say I saw something like similar to this, and it kind of pissed me off because it had guns here. Because someone said long ago, ideas are like clouds that fly over everybody's head, and all you have to do is just reach up and grab it. And if you don't use it, then somebody else will use it. And it came down in the center here, and it had long treads, whatever you call those things, like on both sides. And on top, was it here? I think it was right here. It had like a dome. Because when I saw, what was that? Where they shrunk the people, the little submarine, and they went in the person's body to fight the antibodies to save his life. And this had a gun. Fantastic Voyage, I believe that's what it was called. They had that little dome on top of the Proteus, and I thought that was so cool. And the guy would climb up the ladder and he'd sit up there. So just about everything I drew back then had that little dome on it. And I think I had lights here. So if you're man size, you're about like this big. It's an armored, big armored thing. So the side looks something like this, if I can remember. And of course, the treads go here. And it had this comes down, and it had the tracks here as well. As I said, it was the lights or guns down here, one of the two, and it had the dome. But it's a little longer than that. It's just a little bit longer than that. It had the dome here for the person to kind of sit in, and it had the gun. I think I kept the gun. I took the gun away. No, it was another gun here. It was like a main laser gun here. That's what was missing. I'll draw it this way. And then I think it didn't have windows. I don't remember if it had windows, but it's been a long time. But I thought about that maybe last week, using that for my story, because the little animals need a place to little animals. There you go with that little. These animal soldiers need a base because they are being chased. Well, not really being chased, but let's just say they need a home to stay in for the war, the alien war. And of course, you know, they've got to have that the tread thing, tracks things here. And I called it the turtle, and it was fitting when I thought about it. I was like, okay, I got the animals, so now I can have like a little turtle thing, a vehicle called the turtle, which will fit in line with the animals. And this is when this had to be like in the 70s when I first designed this thing. And I don't remember if it had a window here or not. And I remember when I first started getting into trying to do perspective, I was trying to do an interior design and design the inside, what that would look like. And I know that's on a big piece of paper, because when I first started, what did I know about sketch pads? I always use big paper, just real big paper. I don't think this had a gun. No, I think this was the main gun. This was just a dome that you can see out of. You sit in it and see out of it. So anyway, it looked like that, and I don't know if it had something on the back, but yeah, it was shaped like that. And as I said, I'm going to use it in my comic. But when you're designing your own thing, whether it be a car, spaceship, submarine, whatever, you're going to have to use that perspective, because you can't have it just always forward, always to the side. You're going to have it coming at that 3/4 angle, and all that is, again, is just going back. Here's your line. Here's your vanishing point. Come up just like an explosion. Makes it a little easier. You have your line, eye line, or your ground, or whatever you want to call it. You have your point here, and it explodes. Boom. It's an explosion. Throwing debris every which way. So you just take one of these directions, and then you put your square rectangle on it. Let me do a little better job with these lines so that you can understand what I'm saying. You figured out the explosion part. It explodes, and everything goes all kind of different ways. Nobody explained this, and they don't have books that tell you this stuff. This is what I had to figure out myself as I was self-teaching myself. So then you say to yourself, okay, I want my ship or whatever to be above. So now I'm going to take this line here. Let me get a red so you can see it even better. Hello, red pencil. Here you go. I'm going to go back this way. And I'm just going to square it off to make it a little easier. So now let's give it some wings so it can have a reason to fly. It's a car. It's a flying car. So now it's above me because I use the lines above. So if it's going to come at me, then I'm going to use these lines down here, following the way it goes. Square it off. Here's my windshield. Here's my top. No need for the wings because it's not flying. And if it's going over here, let me throw another one in here just to make it a little thinner. What am I using? The red pencil. And then I'll do this. My rectangle staying in those lines. Then I'll have my wheels again, bottom of the car, my wings. So you just have to use these lines. I mean, and you can use as many lines as you want. If this is too wide, then you add another line here, you add another line here. As long as they're all hitting that point, that one explosion point, you're good to go. So if you want to round it off, if it's an X-Wing, don't ask me to draw an X-Wing, because I have no idea. I've seen the movie, but let me try, just because I even said it. Somebody's like, ooh, X-Wing. Something like that. And then I know the cockpit is like triangle. I don't even think I have the X-Wing model. I know it has a round engine, thruster jets, and then it's got to have some meat up in here. And one wing has got to be down. One wing has got to be up. The guns. Get them guns, get them guns. So yeah, something like that. So that, again, that would be the triangle like this. You do that triangle like that and then shape it up. However, I don't know, it's got the engines on the back. I don't know what's under the bottom because they move so fast. I can't keep up with them. So yeah. Hopefully that was enough explaining for you guys. If you didn't get it, let me know and I'll do another short one on here explaining what I missed. Leave me a comment to let me know, well, what about this, or how about that, or what about this? And it's all in the perspective. It's all in the shapes. Where's the first drawing? I don't know where the first drawing is at. Anyway, it's all in the shapes. Square, circle, or triangle. Master those three shapes. Once you master them, then you look at something, anything, any piece of furniture, a vehicle or whatever, and you see it is shaped like this, and the other thing. Don't try to look at the whole thing and little details in the lines. Look at the basic shapes. Draw the basic shapes. Then you can add details and extra little things just to make it fly. So very simple to draw, especially when you're creating your own something or other. So that's going to be it for this class. This is a really long class, and if you stayed with it, you now know something. Those who just went out, took a break, and never came back, you won't become artists. All right, so no rambling. Here's the bell. Class is dismissed.